because I have not seen you since December.
That's right. You haven't. And this was so good. Our last conversation was so good.
Oh, good. And we have to link up in person this summer. So
100%. Definitely will do that.
let me make sure that I am putting this out on Facebook and we're there. All right.
Yay.
We're on multiple platforms right now, but I'm
I'm
still getting used to coming back into the world and realizing that Facebook, Instagram, it's not the same. LinkedIn, I'm like, guys, you
what
left
happened
me.
here, right? Right. But
So
you
anyway, we are.
back great. We came back with a bang, Lola.
You know what? I love it. I'm excited, but I do have some catching up to do. And speaking of catching up, if you have not tapped into season 3 of the Know the Role Experience podcast, I'm not sure what you're waiting for, but this is your sign, okay? We started out with episode 1. I sat down with my mom. We started diving into all of those things that a lot of people don't tap into with their parents, especially if there's some type of traumatic experience or a really strained relationship. So, episode 1, healing with mom. Episode 2, escaping the 9 to 5, featured Rosa Rodriguez, and she's right here, y'all. That's her right there, y'all. But what I loved about that conversation is we definitely talked about what you could do if you have all of these amazing ideas, because a lot of us, our brains are bubbling daily, right? All these things that we want to do, but we typically feel stuck in our jobs. We don't know what to do. We want to get out of it. Rosa can help you with that. And if you listen to the episode, you will get a couple of tips, but make sure you tap in with her directly and listen the gems, because I follow Rosa and I'm constantly like, I love her. You know,
Oh,
you learn so much. So today we definitely want to piggyback that conversation and take it a bit further. And the reason why I wanted to have this conversation is because I feel like when we are sick, if something is wrong with you physically, you know what I mean, you go to the doctor. If you're not able to figure out what's going on in your body, you go to the doctor because you're perhaps not the expert on whatever it is that's going on. And there are 1,000 different people that you go to for things that you're not an expert in.
yes.
But there's something that a lot of us are missing out on when we are stuck in situations or things and we feel super puzzled. We don't know what to do. And you know what? Sidebar. I was at the supermarket the other day. I took my mom to the supermarket, and for once, I'm the person who's not going in. So I was like, I'm not coming in with you. I'm sitting in the car. So as I was sitting in the car, a man walked by. He seemed to be like the cart attendant. I'm just giving the job a title. I'm assuming that's what it is. This is the person who kind of goes around the parking lot and gathers all of the carts, bring them back.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at him. I'm a people watcher, right? So I'm looking at him and I'm thinking, this person really looks like he gave up on something, perhaps a dream or something, right?
Wow.
And I think that's what a lot of, I'm not saying this is his situation, but I think a lot of us do that where we feel stuck and we are super unsure of how to do something. And because we're so unsure, we never take action, we never do anything. And you
Mhm.
might end up sitting out or missing out on a dream.
Yes.
So, what Rosa and I will be talking about today is there's one thing, super simple. You already know what it is. You're about to be reminded that you can do if you're puzzled, you don't know what to do, and you feel stuck in a situation. So, I am going to pass the mic on over to Rosa, the virtual invisible mic, and have her take it from here. What is one thing that people can do if they feel stuck and they just don't realize that, hey, you have resources.
Yes. Oh my God. I really love this topic because as soon as you said it, I said, oh, I can. It's one of those things that when people ask you, like, what is one thing that you can talk about for hours without stopping? This is one of those things, because it definitely changed my life. Like, as soon as I discovered that what I needed was guidance, right? What I needed in order to get unstuck was a coach, was mentorship, was that person who had already done the thing that I wanted to do. I needed guidance from that person, right? So I found that to be like the ultimate hack. If there is one hack that you need to tap into, is mentorship, is coaching. So whoever it is that you feel like has done the thing that you want to do, go to that person, right? Go to that person and say, can you help me, or what is the thing that you are offering? I usually create, I create stuff on Instagram, online, on Facebook, and I am pouring information from the things that I've been through, from the experiences that I have, from the things that I've been through in my journey. And there's someone out there who is at the beginning of that same journey, who wants to get to where I am right now. And what I have to do with my content and with the information that I put out there is to guide them through that journey, right? So that is, I think, is super important. Is like what can take you from confused to being clear, and clarity is an amazing gift to have, right? And I know you know this because once you hone in on the thing that you feel like is your gift and is the thing that you have to bring to the world, then you can go faster. So that's why that's definitely the ultimate hack.
Absolutely. And we are talking about coaching, y'all. There are so many different types of coaches. There are so many different types of mentors. There are free resources. There are affordable resources. Obviously, there are expensive ones. But one of the things that I believe people get misconstrued is affordability, right? I
Mm,
hear people say all the time, I can't afford that. I don't think I can afford that.
yeah.
But if I had to make an assumption,
Mhm.
I would say that those are probably the people who don't have budgets. You
Right.
probably have no idea what you can afford.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
probably do have a lot of room to spend
Right.
if you figure out, oh, I'm really door dashing 3 times a day.
Oh my gosh, that's a great topic. The thing that you feel like you can or cannot afford is all about mindset, really. Because when I feel like I can't afford something, my mindset immediately switches to, how can I afford this? Or what do I need to do so that I can afford this? Right? Maybe right now, I don't know what way I'm going to afford this, but I can do some things that is going to help me afford the thing that I need. Right? So I just to give you an example, the when I was working my 9 to 5, I didn't realize that I had access to my 401k. And with that first, when I got the right person to guide me through, like, this is something, when I thought I didn't have, I said, I can't afford this, just like that. I can't afford this. I don't have the money for this. And right in front of me was my 401k, and I had actually rolled over from a different job before that. So I had $7,000 just sitting there that was I could move out penalty free. And I didn't know how I could do that until I got the right information. So then I was able to afford a coach at that point because I found the right information and found the creative way to tap into the resources that I didn't even know I had.
So was that a coach?
Yes. So so there are coaches. I actually have friends right now who are coaching on what you can freedom. Sorry, financial freedom coaches. Right. My friend is a financial freedom coach. He teaches you how to flip your 401k, for example. That's a coach, right? There's coaches on every single thing that you need. So, what is the thing that you need? I had someone teach me how to put on my makeup online virtually. That's a coach, right?
I need
So
her.
right. I said, you know what? I need a coach for that. I had to, talk to a friend who taught me how to tap into my 401k without being penalized, and using that information, I was able to tap into my 401k. And I was like, "Oh my god, I was just sitting on this money here that I didn't know I could
Wow.
use." Right. So, I was able to use that to hire a coach. And, fast forward years later, now I know how powerful coaching is. I needed to tap into some equity that I had in my home. I also did that. I was able to hire another coach, get into another mentorship. So these are things that are available to us, that we just need to be, looking for the right people and put yourself in the right environments to get to tap into the resources. So,
I like that. What I'm hearing you say is, yeah, I needed guidance and coaching on a specific topic, but when you went into it, you ended up learning other things that you didn't expect.
right.
I
Exactly.
think I think that's the part that I like, and that's definitely happened to me as well. There's so many things that I have walked away with that you end up having for life, right? These
Yes.
gems and the guidance and the tips and the hacks and the tricks and the knowledge are
Yeah.
things that you end up having for life. It's not like they tell you something or they do it for you and then it disappears and you no longer have it. You have it
Right.
for life and you are now empowered. And I think you were coached so well that you ended up becoming a what?
A coach myself. Exactly. So now that I've learned and I have, like been through that whole process, now I'm coaching other people to do the thing that I learned how to do so well, right? I was it's something that I was obsessed with. I was just like, I couldn't sleep. I wanted to learn more and more and more. And now I got so obsessed with it that, I continue to learn. And now when I speak to people, they're like, wow, like you know so much about this topic, right? So what is that thing that people tell you, like, oh, you're so good at that, Nola, like you do this, it feels like this is so natural to you, right?
I'm doing it right now.
You're doing it right now. Exactly, right? The questions, you open your mouth and you say something, and I'm immediately picking up what you're putting down because you have a gift, right?
Mm.
So that you have to pay attention. What are those things that people tell you all the time? Like, you're so good at that. And you feel like it's so easy for you, but it's not easy for everybody else. So
Yeah,
that
I think another important thing is probably maybe a personality thing, maybe a cultural thing. A lot of people are not able to say, I need someone to hold my hand
mhm.
and show me what to do, hold my hand and walk me through this process. But they don't realize that the people that they look up to have all been coached.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Your coach needs to have a coach. Like, if your coach doesn't have a coach, then that's probably the wrong person. That is something really important for you to look out for. Does your coach have his own mentor? And if then, then what, you don't believe in mentorship if you don't believe in that, right? You have to, every person has a coach, even the greatest of all times, right? Had a coach and needed a coach. So,
Absolutely. You know, I pull the weirdest information from people. So I remember when Beyonce was recording one of her albums, I don't remember which one, y'all, but she did it in the Hamptons in New York. And I remember reading that she had flown in maybe maybe about 10 different writers, people that we know, Sia, a bunch of different people that we're familiar with who write hits, right? And I thought about the fact that there's only so much this woman can come up with as a businesswoman, as a performer, as a mom, and all the different things that she's involved in. So when you bring 10 different people who probably have 1,000 different ideas each, you get to keep producing music that sound different, remains relevant. And I think that kind of parallels the idea that people think, I don't need guidance, I don't need anybody. I know
Mhm.
you don't. There's, listen, everybody can teach you something.
Yes.
And the president of the United States needs an advisor. The principal at your school, there's a board of members in corporations because one person can't make all of these decisions. If you have 20 different people with 20 different ideas, you have 20 chances of getting something that's really amazing. So you by yourself, I'm not saying that you're not great. I'm
Yeah.
just saying that you're always going to reach like a plateau or a ceiling where you can't come up with more things if you're not getting fresh and new ideas. So that's another reason why I think, what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, absolutely. I think that I always support, I'm like, collaboration over competition, right? I love that phrase. Collaboration over competition.
Collaboration over competition.
Okay. And these are the type of environments that you need to put yourself in. Like you need to be around people that are always collaborating, that are always working together. There was a phrase that I heard, that came from, I think, is Elena Cardone. She said, and this was like a big aha moment for me, that she said, independence is a thing of the middle class. And I realized that, everything that when you get want to get to a certain level, you have to collaborate with people. You have to get guidance from people. You have to be willing to join forces, because that's what's going to make you stronger. So think about that. Next time you want to do things on your own, even in your own business, you need a team, you need people. And that team can be your coach. That team can be the people that you bring in, shots of adrenaline, right? Like, these are people, shout out, to him, always there, always helping out, doing all the amazing work that makes this an amazing experience. All of us have a person and people. We have people surrounding us that make us better. So you have to, surround yourself with that type of people. That the environment is what's going to make you grow. So that's definitely, um what I think about that.
Yeah, and the fruit in that is, or I think the way to get to the fruit is to start being honest.
Yeah.
I need help.
Yeah.
You
Oh, that yes. And listen, I'm a mom. I have 3 boys. I have, um I've always been, like you said, the cultural thing. Like, I'm strong. I got this. I have, all these things. I've got it all together. And it sometimes is, it feels like you have to make yourself vulnerable in order to say, you know what, I do need help. These things are actually not working out by me doing them on my own. I need your help. So when we open up and lower our guards, you'd be surprised that how many great, amazing people you attract. Like, Nola, like these are the people that we attract. So be honest, be transparent, be vulnerable, because there are so many people out there who are going through the same exact thing you're going through, if they just opened up enough to say it. So,
absolutely. And I think in a nutshell, what we're trying to say is this is a strength.
absolutely. Yeah.
It's something that can propel you into places you've never fathomed because, again, you can't know what you don't know. You have no idea what you don't know. And everybody can teach you something. And sometimes you collaborate with people and you're like, I can't believe that master plan, that really good idea was 4 feet away from me this whole time, and it
Mm.
unlocked this door that I'm standing here trying to get through this whole time. Sometimes talking to one person, one conversation gets you into a door and your whole life changes.
Yes, absolutely. Like, um, I'm currently reading a book called U Squared, and it talks about how, there are quantum leaps available to you. There are things that are, like you said, that are maybe very simple and right there, but you're just not tapping into it because instead of pushing through, sometimes we just want to kind of like push through the thing that we have in front of us. And what we need to do is make it a 180-degree turn to where the solution actually is. So, the example is a fly pushing on a window sill, trying to get through the window. The fly will never get through that window. And just a few feet away from that fly is a open door. So if that fly, instead of like pushing through that window, would just turn around and fly a few feet to where the door is open, it would get to freedom. And sometimes it's not about trying harder to get through the window, but about making a turn and going into a different direction, something that you didn't really think about, but it's actually very simple.
Mm, mm, mm. Have you ever tried to use like a new gadget, or maybe speaking of windows and doors, maybe even a door, and you're like, what am I doing? And somebody sits there and they're like, just push that blue button or flip that switch. And you're like, oh, that was so easy.
Yes.
I think that's just one of the most simplest examples of how another person's input, now the gadget is working, now the door is open, you can walk through. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And even with the fly, maybe somebody just opened the window.
Right, right. Maybe that was it. Maybe someone was meant to open the window. And in and coaching will give you that clarity. I feel like when you're just like going through this path, and with the light off, like there's no lights. And having guidance is like having like the light turned on, so that you can, once you have that light and once you have the clarity, then you can go faster, right? Because now you can see everything. So once I feel like clarity is a blessing. Having clarity is a blessing. So
Wow. I overuse that word, clarity.
it
I use
it's
that word a lot because that's all I want.
yes.
It's like driving and your wipers don't work and it's snowing.
Yes.
You're not gonna make it.
Yes. Yes, exactly. And and it can come from someone else, because sometimes you're so into, how sometimes you're like looking at something for so long and you're like, I didn't see that mistake there. I didn't see that that email, how I spelled that thing wrong, until someone else, they said, can you look this over for me? And they're like, right there's a mistake. And you're like, I looked at this so many times and I never saw that. And that's because you have a second set of eyes looking
Yeah,
at it.
yeah, that's so important, y'all. And this is not like a sales pitch.
Right.
As much as I would love, if you are in the business world, if you would hire Rosa, I would love that. This is really empowering people and speaking about experiences that help us grow,
Right.
because too many of us are just stuck because we swear we know. We
Yeah.
don't.
No. And it literally changed my life, like it feels sad to look at someone, like you said, like that person who maybe had given up on his dream or given up on her dream. and you know, and you can see the potential. You're like, wow, that person has so much potential. And you're just like, you just want to like hold their hand and say, here, like, get this, like, take this information. But this is what we do, right? This is what we can do, just like spread the word and share this with as many people as possible, because it's so important. And we want people to be able to find that purpose and to find, that joy in their life, that just doing stuff like this, right, brings us joy. So we want to spread that.
Definitely. That's all it's about,
Yeah.
collaboration.
Yes.
I'm going to say two things before I head out. And the first thing is, some people might know that from 2015 to 2021, I was in the food business. So, I mean, I'm still in the restaurant business, but I had a private catering business that transitioned into veganism. So, during that time, I was doing pretty okay. And
Mhm.
it wasn't until I hired a coach that my mind was blown,
Mhm.
and I couldn't use I I was doing all the things,
Yeah.
and I was confident in all the things, but then when she came in, I was like, I didn't think of that. I don't know if I would have thought of that because I just didn't know that that was a thing.
Yep.
So much happened, and I experienced so much success within 18 months than I had the prior years, right? And
Yes.
it wasn't anything crazy. It was basic things that she was just tweak this a little bit, do this a little bit.
Mhm.
The second thing that I have to say is, yes, it is important to get guidance. It is important to collaborate with people, but you have to be teachable.
Yes, you have to be coachable if you get a coach.
You can't have people come in and your head is hard. And I mean, you know what? You can do that. If you want to waste your money,
Right. Right, exactly.
go for it.
Yeah,
But if you ever get to a place where you feel like this wasn't effective,
yeah,
you have to step back and be honest. You know what? I didn't do my work. I didn't do what I was supposed to do. I did not take the guidance because some
action.
people hire coaches, but they don't want to be taught.
Oh, 100%. And, my coach says, "It's information on us, implementation on you." So,
Mm.
mm,
Damn,
I take it just like that.
I love it. And I think that's it, y'all. I think that's it. Thank you so much, Rosa. Please tell people how they can find you and what can happen when they do find you.
Listen, you can find me on Instagram, on Facebook. On Instagram, I am Rosa Rodriguez, and on Facebook, Rosa Rodriguez, or you can go to iamrosarodriguez.com. And listen, I just help you gain clarity in the thing that you were meant to do so that you can start living life on your terms. And that's it.
Living life on your terms. If you don't want to do that, I don't know what you're doing. Okay.
Exactly.
Make sure you tap into the Nola Row Experience podcast everywhere you like to cast pods. If you prefer to listen, we are on Spotify, Apple, Google, iHeartRadio, Amazon, everywhere.
Everywhere.
And if you prefer to watch, of course, we're also on YouTube. Shout out to Shot of Adrenaline, who is currently watching from YouTube. And shout out to everybody else who listens to this and you actually gain something. You're welcome. And thank you. Later. Good night, y'all.